didn't take all the things in the world to create this piece of magic. It took the magic to create the magic.
To go from people thinking like Motown, you know, we got to have the whole band in the crib, you feel me, to really make a song, going from that to the TR-808.
The idea that I could create music on my own, that blew me away.
Nobody would believe that a black group of individuals could make music like that. And we turned that into, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you.
And I'm just inspired by this music.
We were reaching for records that nobody would play at a party.
I knew I could do it, and I felt confident, and I put the work in.
It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And I tell anybody out there that's trying to do this, if it's art, if it's music, whatever it is in the world of creative, it is not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. There's the struggle, there's the belief, determination, and your perseverance at the end of the day. And then your will to accept criticism and to be prepared to grow from that. We could have gave up. We've never given up. And that's the real key to this. Never giving up.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's Sheefy McFly here in the place to be in Detroit City, you know, chilling with Kevin Saunderson, Derrick May of the Belleville Three, you know. We here, we got a dope collab.
Juan in Spirit?
Yeah, Juan in Spirit, you know, the originator. And y'all made this all together. Like, that's what's so dope to see this, you know, just black excellence, black men just really creating something that just changed the world. So I want to start off by asking, like, how was it, like, in the early days with y'all, you know, in high school, breaking out of high school, just really making something that never happened? Like, what was the energy?
You know, I'm going to say this. I thought about this last night. I thought about Kevin's mother. Because if it wasn't for his mother, this may not have ever happened. All of our mothers were important. But there was a point where we were playing football together in high school. And we had known each other since junior high. And my mother was moving to Chicago. And I basically was supposed to move with her. And I convinced her, along with the school principal, to have me stick around. And it was basically to get an opportunity to play ball in college or whatever. And I didn't really have anywhere to stay or anything of that nature, but I was able to convince my mother to talk to Kevin's mother. I don't even know how I got that in my mind, where it came from to have his mother speak, my mother speak to Kevin's mother, but they agreed upon it, and I moved in with Kevin for basically half the school year, and that was a life-changing moment for us because Juan and myself I had learned from Juan all about what was happening musically. We weren't making music yet, but living with Kevin, listening to Mojo, the electrifying Mojo on the radio on WGPR, and just laying in bed, man, it's listening to this music. It had a profound impact on us. And Kevin's mother, had she said no, I couldn't stay there for that period, you know, that time.
Yeah.
I don't know where we would be today.
That wouldn't have been that glue moment.
I think it would have been a little different because obviously by Derrick moving in with me and him being connected to Juan, even though I used to go over to Juan's house, mainly to hang out with Derrick and Juan's brother Aaron. And I would see like synthesizers and equipment that I wasn't used to seeing. Never really asked about it, knew he was just doing some, you know, different things with, you know, being creative, but that didn't spark me because I was a sports guy. But when Derrick moved in and connected me with Mojo, listening to Mojo, it really changed my perspective on music. It opened up my ears to, you know, not just listening to what my mother played, or when I went back to visit my father in New York, it gave me a different perspective. As at that time, I had no clue that I was going to be this creative force of making music. But like Derrick said, that connection, if that wouldn't have happened, it definitely wouldn't have happened for me the same way. I know that. Juan and Derrick might have been doing it because Juan was already doing it, and Derrick was being influenced by Juan. So that kind of brought me in the early stages, even though I wasn't creating at that time.
But you know, it's interesting because I'm gonna tell you something. We had such an infectious sort of connection on each other, and then we broke off. You know, that we didn't see each other for a minute. I saw Juan, but we didn't see Kevin. You know, our lives all went in different directions for a hot minute. I stayed close to Juan, as I said, but still Juan was on his way. He had released Alleys of Your Mind. He was heavily involved with Cybertron. It was a big thing. Even though nobody knew who Juan was, because Cybertron, by the standards of the record company at the time, did not even want anyone to know they were black. You know, because they thought nobody would believe that a black group of individuals could make music like that, or or just wouldn't sell to black people.
Well, let's talk about that, because that's what I find so interesting, just how y'all really just made a groundbreaking moment just from the energy that y'all propelled from each other. Even with y'all taking time apart, it shows like the power of brotherhood and friendship. Like y'all don't have to be around all the time, but when y'all really came back, it made that glue, it made that moment, you know. So being the innovator, Juan being the originator, you being the elevator. You feel me? Like, it, just with all that energy, did y'all know that y'all had that energy at that moment, or was it just like rambunctiousness, just want to go against the machine, you know, like just want to make something different? Like, what was it in the 80s?
Young.
Yeah, I don't think we knew, but
We were young.
We were probably fearless. Didn't really care what nobody else thought about it. I know I didn't care. I was into what the electronic tools were and the idea that I could create music on my own.
Yeah.
That blew me away. And then I had a brother who was a tour manager of brass construction, and I didn't really have a clue how all this equipment worked, how it connected. He was giving me info on it, like, and kind of explaining it to me at the same time at the beginning, even though Derrick was like, living in Chicago, Juan was doing his own thing. I really wasn't in contact with Juan. But no, I think we all was ambitious. We played sports together. Sports, you know, it gives you that drive, you know.
Team spirit.
You know, yeah, so a lot of
mentality.
that played a role, I think, in that. And then just people we were influenced by.
Yeah.
As we were growing up, we became these individuals. We became young men. We became men, and with this passion that.
A lot of failures along the way. You know, it didn't happen overnight. I mean, I waited in this place called Bert's. Okay, you may know Bert's from the Bert's Bar in Eastern Market.
Yep.
Well, Bert used to have a place on East Jefferson, which is used to be across from Cobo Hall,
Okay.
which is no longer called Cobo Hall.
It's like Huntington Place or something.
Huntington Place, exactly. And that was basically like the hangout for all the bus drivers. When they pulled over to have a sandwich, they'd go to Bert's because he was open all night.
Yeah.
And I got to know because they had a Galaga video game. Galaga. Put a quarter in, play the game. Yep. And I used to go in there and play after school. I'm still in high school at the time. I'm living in Detroit now. I haven't seen Kevin, and I'm close to Juan, but Juan is very busy doing his thing.
Yeah.
And I'm his understudy. This is what at that period. And I basically took the time to meet Mojo, the electrifying Mojo. Now this was hard because I stole my mother's car. I stole my mother's car on a regular basis from the hours of 1 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd take it back, waiting on Mojo, even though he was on the radio, waiting on him to get off the radio at 3 o'clock in the morning to come down to get his sandwich. It took him about 3 or 4 months to do that. He finally did it. I met him. I gave him Juan's music, and that was a whole nother process. But people hear the stories from us. They hear the stories from Juan. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And I tell anybody out there that's trying to do this, I tell anybody, whatever you're doing, if it's art, if it's music, whatever it is in the world of creative, it is not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. There's the struggle, there's the belief, determination, and your perseverance at the end of the day. And then your will to accept criticism and to be prepared to grow from that. And we had to accept all of that. We had to accept a lot of failures. We had to accept a lot of people being dishonest to us. We've had to watch a lot of people go and do things that we should have done. We could have gave up. We've never given up, and that's the real key to this. Never giving up.
I feel like that's very important. That's very important. Even what I really liked about this project was knowing what I know from y'all, just seeing like a movement or just first interactions with everybody, and just actually going back and looking at the photos of y'all in the 80s and just looking at that hunger, how y'all had it and everything like that, and just listening to y'all right now. what were like the instruments, not the instruments, but the machines that really changed everything? Like to go from people thinking like Motown, you know, we got to have a whole band in the crib, you feel me, to really make a song, going from that to the TR-808.
I knew Derrick had some knowledge about technology and Juan, but you know, people trying to be creative, it's hard to pick their head, and they still trying to learn their own stuff. Now, Juan was like miles ahead of us, so he was like, he wouldn't let nobody touch his stuff.
Can't even see him work.
Right, he was in his own world.
Gotcha.
So I had to figure it out on my own,
Yeah.
but I had help through my brother, and sometimes me and Derrick,
We helped each other.
bring our equipment together. But key pieces for me was like the 909,
Got you.
DX100, CZ2000.
That's the and the Casio.
Right. So those were elements. If I just had those few elements, I could create. And then I had to have like a sequencer, something that we remember. I couldn't play
Unlike
like a
today.
musician.
Yeah, I
You
can't
know.
play either, you feel me? I
So-
go off of just the impulse, the
Well,
feeling.
one like today, everybody's using software or some form of
Like a hybrid.
a hybrid
software,
machine.
hardware, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a very different process now. It's the same as for a DJ.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. So let's put our minds just hypothetically, if techno was created today, like, and y'all still like the founders, y'all the founding fathers, but y'all got the technology and everything today, how would you think it would change?
Okay. Now you can now you can go to the grocery store, buy something frozen, pop it in the microwave. Your grandmother used to cook in the kitchen in a stove. That's the difference. That's the big difference between now and then.
Point blank.
We cooked on the stove. Now people put it in the microwave.
Y'all was in the kitchen,
Boom.
for real.
We were cooking. And we had to cook from scratch.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
yeah.
That's the main difference. I can give you a ton of metaphors and give you all kinds of examples if you like, but that's the basic,
That's the
simple.
one.
That's the one. You know.
But we also was able to master the tools we had because we couldn't afford much and we didn't have much. Where today's technology, you can have like 100 different synths in your computer that emulate some of the same synths we were using back then, or drum machines.
Or things we dreamt of using that we couldn't get.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
technology is much more advanced than it was then, but I think we had to work harder to break ground. Now everybody can just jump in and definitely can make a song.
Yeah.
And especially now you got AI coming into the whole thing
Which is
too.
even crazy.
So it's different, and I'm still creating, so I have to, like my studio is hybrid, and especially I have my son creating too. So, I'm kind of in both worlds. I'm come from the past. Like when you go in my studio, you see all these analog synths, and my sons, they barely touch them, and I'm still touching knobs and
Yeah.
messing with those synthesizers and keyboards more than being stuck in the computer, where they more stuck in the computer because that's just the way the new producers are making music more or less now.
What I liked what y'all said, like y'all used, what y'all had in front of y'all, it was a quote that I just heard from Andre 3000. I'm paraphrasing it, but he said, like, big things happen in small rooms. And this is definitely the energy that I'm getting from y'all. Like, y'all use what y'all could put your hands on to really change the world.
There was a lot of melancholy, a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, a lot of determination tied up into the music.
Yeah.
And yes, Kevin worked in his living room in Ypsilanti. I worked in my little apartment in the very beginning at 4421 2nd Avenue, Sheridan Court Apartments, which is right up the street, and I used to get the neighbors banging on the walls to turn the music down. Juan worked in his mother's basement, and so we definitely went the route of climbing the mountain one step at a time. And it was a struggle, but like I said, it was worth it. And it was very, I recommend anybody that can get their hands on real gear to learn and understand the ethics of how to create. The same with a pen and a chalk and a proper paper, and you can still do software, but to know the real fundamentals of how to create, then you respect the work. And then you can go off and use all the software in the world.
Yeah, strip it down.
But this is what that small room is all about. The big things happen in small rooms. It's the idea that you've gotten all the way inside of here and here at the same time, and you put all that together instead of just all of this technology.
Yeah.
Which makes it easy, but where's your heart? Where's your mind? Where's your soul? And that's what's the small thing in the big room. That's what the big thing in the small room. It's your heart, mind, and soul.
Definitely.
That's what he means by that.
Yeah.
He means that it didn't take all the things in the world to create this piece of magic. It took the magic to create the magic.
So let's talk about the magic. What led you to that flow state? Like when I think about when I'm working a painting, I gotta sit in the studio and just like work every day to reach like a new style or just a point of actually understanding what I'm creating. So what was like that flow state of really being in the city, like how you said you captured the melancholy, like the 80s of Detroit, but even though it was that present moment, y'all were speaking to the future as well. You know, so like what was really like that?
That's a great question.
That every day, like what got you up, just that spark, that flow, like I know I'm doing it, even if it's not even making sense to people, I'm doing it, you know?
Well, Kevin will have a different answer for you, but my answer is the fact that Juan was my inspiration. You know, I watched him as much as I could, and we have been listening to this music since of the age of 13. We tried to be DJs in the very beginning. We got laughed at because we were reaching for records that nobody would play at a party. You know, we were playing things that, we were playing Kraftwerk, Trans Europe Express at a party full of black folks. You know, they would just walk off the dance floor.
Yeah.
You know, we were playing European electronic pop music, you know, this crazy stuff, Depeche Mode, what have you. And they walk off the floor. So we dealt with the resentment in our minds. We made it a negative thing, how people appreciated what we liked.
Yeah.
And we turned that into, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. And Juan took it with Rick Davis to another level with Cybertron. And to be a student of that, a student of how to take that energy, that thing, and turn it into something physical is what I got from Juan.
Yeah.
It's what I got from Rick Davis.
And I think for me, it's always been my destiny, and I didn't know it. Like, and it finally clicked. I remember I was 9 years old, 8 years old. My mother bought me a drum set, and I was just playing around with drums, right? Just didn't know what I was doing. Eventually, she got rid of them because she didn't give me no lessons. It was a bunch of noise.
Just make a noise.
Right. So, to me, that was the first. That was the first time I kind of was musical, at least in my own way. Then I looked at later on as my mother. She used to give these basement parties, and I didn't know how to DJ, but I called myself DJing by being able to take one tape deck, and when the music stopped, put another one on. Stuff
I
like
never
that.
knew that.
8 tracks. I know you didn't
That's
know
cool.
that. But,
I didn't know that.
But I used to do that. But I'm playing
Chocolate
their music.
Sensation. This is Chocolate
That's
Sensation.
before that. That's before that.
Oh.
We'll talk about that in a minute. But I used to be creative trying to do stuff like that. But I'm playing, you know, kind of old people's music, her music that she liked, her playlist, right? And now this is maybe like 7th, 8th grade, all right? So then the next level was I started by being around Derrick and listening to Mojo and being inspired by Juan. That took me to that next level. Now, I'm still not creating at that time. And as Derrick mentioned, Chocolate Sensation, we had this group at our high school organization.
I wasn't in
high
that.
school.
the Derrick girls,
I was living in Detroit at that time.
You want to make that
Graduation
clear.
party.
Okay, but it was a group of the seniors at Belleville High School.
Yeah.
Most of them from Willow Run, which was, I guess, connected to Ipsy, which most of my friends.
West Willow.
West Willow.
West
exactly.
Willow.
I said Willow Run, but West Willow. We started this organization, and our senior party was Derrick and Juan playing. And I had my whole house. Like, we lived in Belleville off a
His mother was
street.
out of town?
No, she wasn't out of town.
You about to get him in trouble.
She wasn't out of town. She moved to Southfield.
Oh, that's right.
So I
That's
had
right.
the house really for the
I forgot
summer.
about that.
Until she got rid of the house. So I had the house for the summer.
This is a very nice house, by the way.
Yeah, it was laid out.
Saw a
Pool, 3 or
legendary
4
party.
levels.
Yeah.
Pool and everything. Derrick and Juan came and played this party. It was, from what I remember, it was mainly Juan, but Derrick, I think that was the beginning of Derrick really.
I
getting
had a
his feet
program.
wet.
You was
I
getting in your
wouldn't play
groove.
outside my little 20 record program.
Right.
Go
right.
ahead.
So this party was off the hook. People came from Detroit. I had no clue who they were, but they came because of Juan and
Yeah.
Derrick. And then we had our people from Belleville that came.
It was on.
And it might have been 200 people in that house, right?
In the
and
middle
I-
of the most wealthiest neighborhood in Belleville,
Yeah.
all these white people living around,
Yeah.
and here's all these black folks showing up to this party.
That was a precipice,
So-
right? That was that moment. That
Right,
really
right.
made sense. Like, okay.
But that changed Kevin.
Yeah.
That definitely did. Because I said, I'm
can do
looking
this.
at Derrick play, and I see Juan, and I'm just inspired by this music. I'm already thinking I'm trying to do something, but then I see that's what you really do, right? So it taught me something. Now I'm getting old. I'm 17. I'm going back and forth to New York. Disco's big. I'm visiting my father, hanging out. Some of the summers I would hang there too, especially that summer. I hung there a lot. And I used to go to a place called the Paradise Garage. Now Derrick, he don't really
heard
know
of that.
this.
Yeah, I heard of that.
Because we not connected musically, like on that level, but he don't really realize that I'm absolutely absorbing DJs play in this big, powerful club that was in New York, like the best club in New York.
In the
So-
world at the time.
Yeah, in the world. So that had an inspiration on me. Then when me and Derrick hooked back up, and I learned about this equipment, which was maybe a year later, I was at Eastern Michigan University. I was playing football.
This is all in the 80s.
Oh, that's crazy.
I gave up football because I was so in love with this music. In part was
Both
the
of
coaches,
us did pretty
coaches
much.
got fired, so I was
Yeah.
like,
I
ain't
got
gonna
kicked
chance.
out, didn't make it.
Yeah.
You ain't make the cut.
I didn't make the cut, dog.
So it was destiny, right? So what gave me my drive is them, and then it was me because I knew I could do it, and I felt confident, and I put the work in. As like Derrick knew several DJs probably that were much better than me at the time, but Derrick gave me an opportunity when he had a radio show.
Oh my God.
I had an opportunity to be on this radio show.
WJLB.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I
Oh,
was
that's what's up.
practicing, but I was practicing my butt off. I was
That's a whole
really
nother story.
practicing. So I put the work in, and I'm just inspired by technology and
We
the
learn
people
from each
around
other.
me and the
Yeah.
people around me.
Yeah, we grew off each other.
You know.
And we learned from each other's mistakes. And we have always been, look, to this moment, we have always been very hypercritical, honest, and respectful of each other. We don't get along all the time. And I think one of the
Say
reasons
that
why
again.
and I think one of the reasons why we remain friends is because we can be honest with each other.
Y'all keep it real with each other.
We don't have a choice.
Yeah.
We don't have. Look, we're gonna know each other for the rest of our lives. We're linked forever. No matter what we do, we are linked for the rest of our lives and after, long after.
That's what makes it so special, for
our
real.
children and grandchildren will come together for reunions and special commemorations somewhere down the line. So we are connected for the next forever years.
Well, yeah, this part of the capsule, you feel me, that I designed based on the Belleville Three, on y'all, It was just an honor just to get and talk, had an insight, criticism, all of that. I loved it. This is what I do.
I think you're great as well, bro.
Thank you.
And I think you don't get enough credit, but you will. I really appreciate you doing this and being a part of this community. And I have watched you grow.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah,
For
big-
real.
big
Thank
respect.
you.
Big
Thank you.
respect.
For real, I mean a lot. When I was making this, I was thinking of like just hearing y'all talk about just electrifying Mojo, and you was even saying like it was a point where people wasn't listening to craft work. But I grew up watching like New Dance Show, so like that's all they was
We
playing.
knew
on
that's
there.
the scene.
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Same.
and that's what I'm saying. There's so many different just like parts of it. So like just looking at y'all back in the day and just thinking about how the city sound with the cars going by, and you feel me, the people moving and everything. Even like 89, 90,
It was a ghost
Pistons
town.
winning. Like it had to. Was it like the energy was like robust?
It was dark.
There wasn't people there?
It was dark and ghastly and cold and empty, and there was no hope, no nothing.
Yeah.
that
and I-
probably helped our music.
I was about to say, was that the
I
soundtrack
fed
to the
off
music?
I always called Detroit the Titanic above water. That's what I used to call it back in the day.
Yeah.
So even with this, I was trying to capture. I wanted to paint like a techno ship, like all of y'all creating techno together. So that was like really the illustration for this right here.
Right.
And then the Belleville 3 font, it was just more so just having fun, just using like
I think
my
you did a
own
great
type of
job.
font. You like it?
I think you did a great.
That's
I
what's
mean,
up.
look. I mean, originally I wasn't sure. Kevin wasn't sure, and we were being very open-minded about it. and because I know you, but I don't know, I'm not tight with you, but I know you, I know your work. We all just sort of sat back and watched you come together. Everybody was very open-minded about the project. And here we're looking at something that's really cool. As I said earlier, this is iconic, and I believe that it's going to stand the test of time.
You see the side that got the Boulevard grass and the Techno Boulevard.
I see that. I see it. Techno Boulevard. Very nice. And we are actually trying to get this, hopefully one day official. Get that street called Techno Boulevard for real.
This is the push for it right here.
Right.
Techno Boulevard.
We'll be 98 and 97 years old, but we'll be there. It'll get done.
Yeah, it's gonna get done.
Power to the people, baby.
But I think you captured the magic here. And when you said like a spaceship of us creating, I can catch that vibe. That's for sure.
That's what's up.
That's Fat Albert and the kids, baby. That's Fat Albert and the kids, baby. But you got Juan's Crystal Dome, so that's
I had to get that right.
Iconic
yeah,
dome.
Once I said that.
Listen, you don't have that. That's like no, you can't do that. That's like I hate to make the comparison, but there's Mo, Larry, Curly, and then there's Juan, Derrick, and Kevin. So I hate to make that kind of comparison, but you just can't do.
Gotta get it right.
You gotta have Curly.
Yeah, gotta have the haircut.
You gotta have Curly. You gotta have Curly.
And that's what was dope too, because from my perspective, I was thinking like a point where y'all look the most different. From me seeing y'all, just seeing the impact that y'all have, like even with the festivals and hearing the music and stuff like that. So that's what really drew me to like the high school look.
Right.
But just even hearing your own perspective and have y'all here to, actually say it like this is the look, like this is the build.
Are you happy with it?
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
And I think a lot of people are gonna really appreciate it.
Yeah, I put some work into it to get the Belleville Three and the Pistons just all together. So that's what this is.
Well, it's great for us to be a part of the Pistons for this event. I mean, we're gonna perform. This is cool.
Yeah,
we get to do a show for the Pistons, man. This is
That's
fun.
legendary.
This is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really something interesting. And
Crazy
something,
moment in time. Y'all probably even think about this when y'all first made it. Like, just
Man,
all around the
you know
world,
what? I mean,
Never imagined that.
No, not this.
These type of opportunities would pop up, and the fact that we're doing this with the Pistons, and it's for Black History Month, and which I think is important because it's important to put the message out there about history, to let our history be known. Not just our history, but all Black history. It's just important to recognize, and I think that's an important thing that the Pistons have invited us in to do this partnership.
Because me figuring out techno was black music changed my life. Like, it really changed my life. Like, growing up, just in the hood, you'll hear people talk about techno. It's like, oh, that's white music, or you don't know what it is. Like, I really gained knowledge in college. Once I went to college, and then I heard Alleys of Your Mind and went down a rabbit hole. I'm like, this happened right down the street.
Yeah,
and
right.
I just had a birthright instantly, so I just felt like I want to be a part of this. I want to help uplift it and preserve it.
That was the same for us to learn that about Funkadelic, about Parliament, about George Clinton.
Yeah.
Same thing. We all knew about Motown, but when we came across Funkadelic, across Parliament, it was through Mojo. But to make that Detroit connection, it was it took a minute to realize this is from Detroit. These dudes are right down the street, right here.
Yeah.
I mean, literally like 200 feet away from this building.
It's one thing that's important to think about here. As we were having our run with this music and having success, the Bad Boys were doing it too.
Going crazy.
So it was kind of parallel. It was a very exciting time for us, and I was a fan. I've been a fan since back then with Isaiah and all them, Bob Lanier. I've just been a Piston fan since I was young, and seeing all that.
Oh, that had to be magic.
Then going to the games and seeing the Pistons and whatever, Isaiah, Joe Dumars and Rodman and all of them. You never imagine that we're going to be performing or for the Pistons.
Yeah.
We made some of our biggest records when they were winning championships. And the building where we made it is right here on Gratiot. It's a minute away. So it was just really something. We never had the opportunity to know if anybody outside of our world was listening to what we were doing.
Yeah.
And then when we finally got to Europe, that was powerful. But to be sitting here now means that somebody paid attention to us. And we're very happy for that.
Let's see. So thinking about just the robust history of the Pistons, Techno, Belleville Three, with this collaboration in the future, what do you want people to get from it? Like, what do you want to see, like, in the midst of this collaboration? What was the magic that happened to lead to it? Just like how you mentioned, like, from the 80s, y'all saw the Bad Boys. Now we're here now about to have the Belleville Three. We celebrating Black history, y'all, Black history, 30 years from now.
dream big. Don't be afraid to fail. Always look in the mirror and be able to tell yourself the truth as far as where you are, what you're doing, and how far you want to go. If you can't do that, then you're not there. But you've got to be able to be honest enough with yourself creatively to say, I want to go far, I've got a lot of work to do, because we've been there and we've done that. And for all the failures and all the successes, it was a lot of heartbreak along the way. Great moments too, but don't give up.
Simple and plain.
That's it. It's a lot. You could do any kind of math you want on it, but in the end, it's don't give up, and don't be feeling sorry for yourself. You know, that's it. That's my method.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much mine. Don't give up. And, you know, it's great to have hometown support because you don't know who's the next us or successful person that might have viewed this and been inspired. And 10 years or 15 years from now, they're on top of the world. And they can look back and say, you know, I seen this interview, I seen the support the Detroit Pistons gave, and that really changed my life.
You know something that's interesting is that I know Kevin and myself and Juan, we do this. We stop and talk to people. We ain't never been too big, no matter where it's Japan, Switzerland, Africa, North Africa, Australia, wherever it is. We've never been too big to not stop and talk to people, shake somebody's hand. Just give that tiny little bit of encouragement. You know, pay attention to the one. There's a whole lot of people out there, but pay attention to the one, because we were once the one.
Yeah.
And somebody took the time to help us and to encourage us. That's it, man. It's simple math.
No, that's big.
It's simple math.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about this now, like y'all was in the 80s, it was the bad boys, you feel y'all was just creating the music. Now y'all done lived the legacy, done went all around the world. The Pistons #1 seed in the East right now. You feel me? Black History Month, we celebrating y'all, and it's gonna be that special moment again. You feel me? So 30 years from now, I can only imagine. People just talk about that moment and thinking about it. We probably gonna be making music from the airwaves or something. We wouldn't even know.
And I can't wait to know what people think about that hairstyle 30 years from
Look,
now, boy.
You know, I had to bring it back. They don't even know. This real too, you know.
I'm loving it.
This
You know,
real. This ain't no
by the way,
trap.
that is not a weed. He did not buy that. That is a hot press and curl.
feel me? Hot press and curl.
Bam!
You know.
I'm Derrick May.
And I'm Kevin Saunderson.
We are part of the Belleville Three.
And our capsule will be launched with the Detroit Pistons on February 1st.